Every culture, every century, every thinking mind eventually confronts the same question: who created God? Some dismiss it as meaningless, others wrestle with it for a lifetime. But beneath the question lies something universal: the human desire to understand our origins, to know why anything exists at all. When science approaches this question, it begins with the observable and the measurable. It studies what can be seen, tested, and repeated. Science deals with matter, energy, and time, not metaphysics or meaning. So when asked who created God, the scientific response is often, "That's beyond our scope." Science traces natural causes within the universe, but not beyond it. According to modern cosmology, the universe as we know it began with the Big Bang, about 13.8 billion years ago. Space, time, and every physical law came into existence at that point. Before that moment, there was no before in any meaningful sense, because time itself did not yet exist. Some physicists propose that the universe emerged from a quantum fluctuation, others that it's one bubble among countless others in a multiverse, or that it endlessly expands and contracts in cycles. Yet each of these theories assumes something already existed to make the next event possible: a law, an energy field, or a fluctuation. Science, for all its brilliance, can describe the how of the universe, but not the why. As Stephen Hawking once put it, asking what came before the Big Bang is like asking what's north of the North Pole. It isn't that science disproves God, it simply doesn't have the tools to measure or detect him. Science can describe the mechanics of existence, but it cannot explain the cause of existence itself. Eventually, every equation leads us to the edge of knowledge, the boundary where data ends and deeper questions begin. That's where philosophy enters the conversation. Where science asks how, philosophy asks why. Why is there something rather than nothing? Philosophers have long wrestled with the problem of causation. Everything that begins to exist must have a cause. But if every cause needs another cause, we fall into an infinite loop that explains nothing. Thinkers from Aristotle to Aquinas resolve this by proposing a first cause, or what Aristotle called the unmoved mover, a being that causes all else, but is itself uncaused. This isn't first in time, but first in necessity. If everything in the universe is contingent, dependent on something else for existence, then reason demands a non-contingent, necessary being at the foundation. That being, by definition, cannot have been created. To ask who created God is therefore a category mistake. It assumes that God is part of the created order, when in philosophy, God is the explanation for why there is a created order at all. Philosophy doesn't claim to see God under a microscope or locate him in the cosmos. It simply recognizes that without an uncaused cause, there could be no causes at all, no logic, no existence, no reality. The philosopher concludes that behind every contingent thing lies something eternal, necessary, and self-existent. From there, theology gives that conclusion a name. Every major faith tradition acknowledges a version of this uncreated reality. In Hinduism, it is Brahman, the infinite, formless essence. In Islam, it is Allah, he who begets not, nor is he begotten. In Judaism, it is YHWH, the great I am, the one who simply is. Each tradition, despite differences in language, converges on the same core idea. God is not within time. God is the source of time. God is not one being among others. God is being itself. Theological thought insists that the Creator doesn't require a beginning, because beginnings themselves were His creation. To ask who made God is to forget that the question of before only makes sense inside the universe that He made. And now we arrive at the Judeo-Christian view, where revelation meets reason. When Moses asked God his name, the reply was simple yet profound: I am who I am. Those words are more than a title. They are a statement of pure existence. God doesn't possess being, He is being. Scripture echoes this truth from Genesis to Revelation. Before the mountains were born, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. All things were made through Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In the Christian worldview, God is not only eternal but personal. The Creator enters His creation through Christ, the Word made flesh, the Logos through whom all things were made. The same I Am who spoke to Moses in the wilderness stands in human history and says, "Before Abraham was, I am." Here, eternity touches time. The eternal Creator steps into his own story, not as one created, but as the author himself. So when we ask who created God, the Judeo-Christian answer is clear: no one. God was not created because he is the Creator. He is the origin of time, the source of all being, the necessary foundation without which nothing else could exist. Science shows us the how of the universe. Philosophy helps us reason toward the why. Theology introduces us to the who. Together, they do not contradict, they converge. Science brings us to the beginning of time. Philosophy points to a necessary cause. Theology reveals that cause as the eternal I Am. In the end, the question who created God dissolves not because it is unimportant, but because it misunderstands what God is. God is not an effect waiting for a cause. He is the cause that makes effects possible. The uncreated Creator, the timeless author of beginnings, the one who is and always will be. This is the conclusion of reason and the foundation of faith. God was never created, because he is the reason creation exists. This is the Truth Lab, where faith and reason aren't enemies. They're evidence of the same mind. What do you think of the concept of the uncaused cause? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button to help the discoverability of this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this.